We'll now be hearing from a Michigan native who many of you may have heard of. And I've had the pleasure actually of knowing Lynn Henning for about a decade now. Lynn and her colleagues and friends and neighbors from environmentally concerned citizens of South Central Michigan began to see the impact of industrialized livestock operations in their community and began to do something about it the way Dan was talking about. Lynn, fortunately for Sierra Club, became active in Sierra Club as a water sentinel, and we were able to bring her on as a staff person a number of years ago, and she was recognized in 2010 with what's considered to be the Nobel Prize equivalent for environmental activists, the Goldman Environmental Prize for North America, for her work on concentrated animal feeding operations and getting them under control. And Lynn is going to talk to us some about the specific experiences here in Michigan. So Lynn?
Hi, I'm Lynn Henning. I'm a family farmer from Lenawee County, Michigan. Been married 33 years, have 2 children. And in 2000, we had a confrontation at the grocery store. A lady confronted me and says, "Why did you turn the neighbor in?" And from there, did a FOIA to find out what had happened, and we were being accused of a large dairy having a discharge in a drain named after our family. So from there we started riding around, checking the drains, and seeing that we had CAFOs moving into our community. And we joined the local group called Environmentally Concerned Citizens of South Central Michigan. And from there we started water sampling. And to this day we have approximately 13 CAFOs within a 10-mile radius of our farm, with over 60 lagoons with over 400 million gallons of waste that's applied untreated on the farm fields around us. And this farm fields drain to the Lake Erie watershed. So I just kind of want to go through a little bit of how we got here and what we do to do this, and how the research has been done over the years. We've done probably hundreds of FOIAs through the Michigan DEQ, through the EPA, finding information and running details on the 238 facilities that are permitted in Michigan. Just to give you an idea of those 238, 119 of them are dairy, 85 of them are swine facilities, 16 poultry, 11 turkeys, and then the others are mixed between horses and veal and smaller numbered animals. And then through the years we take plat maps and we document from the CAFO's documentation to show which land is being applied around us, and we'll map it, and then we'll use aerial photography, as you can see on the right, and that specific facility was intentionally built over headwaters to the waterways. So we've had over the years in our area, many of them have illicit tile connections to the county drains and the waterways. We've also went out and done water monitoring on the ground. Here we had gotten a dissolved oxygen meter to show the same numbers as what the state, this is a meter just like the state would have, the Department of Environmental Quality. They would come out and they would test. We would take pictures of the meter because anything below 5.0 does not sustain life in the water. So we would show violations directly on the ground and send these up to the state in our monitoring. And then as you can see, we get out and we get dirty. We do training of water monitoring. We're also doing webinars across the state and even across the country to train people how to do water monitoring around and near CAFOs. And some of the equipment that we use, we test for E. coli, phosphorus, ammonia, and other things on the ground. We have, in Dundee, we've got 5 classes of 5th grade students that actually do water monitoring, and their information is on the website. For this specific The Less is More campaign, I want to walk you through a case study that we did so you can kind of understand how we come up with the information. This is a aerial photo. This is a Baker Lad CAFO. This is a smaller CAFO with 425 animals, and they were ordered to get a permit because they had had over 7 violations, and they were finally got a permit in 2012. The subsidies for this facility have exceeded $1,163,939. From 1995 to 2011, EQIP was $142,000, and for 2010 it was over $86,000. The wetland was built, as you can see. The creek that runs between the facility is the south branch of the River Raisin that goes to the Lake Erie watershed. This is drinking water downstream for Blissfield and Deerfield drinking water system. They allowed them to cross the creek with a pipe and put a wetland for waste on the other side. This is a very high risk of waste running into the waterway. This is the wetland up close, and as you can see, it has pea gravel in the center of a treatment wetland that has absolutely no vegetation to treat it as it goes through the wetland. The wetland system was designed for a 1% slope, and the slope on this is 2 to 7%. This here, by zooming in close, you can see the white line going off the edge of the page over there. They literally have a pump sitting at the lagoon that is running toward the waterway. Violations cited in 2011 for 7 of them, and they were verified for the Michigan Agricultural Environmental Assurance Program in 2011, even with the violations. This is a field tile system that's east of the facility. It was added at the end where animal waste is applied very heavily, and it creates a high-risk discharge because when you put liquid waste over the fields, it drains through the wormholes, through the crab holes and stuff down to the tile, and then discharges to the waterways. So this is a very high-risk practice. This is a sub-irrigation system that they got almost $1 million for from the Department of Ag, the United States Department of Ag. This specific facility is where these red grids are tile that were placed under the ground at 18 inches deep. And what they are doing is pumping waste into these tile that's being absorbed up into the plants that they will harvest and feed back to the animals. The sub-irrigation system is on 20 acres. They got paid for cover crops for 8 acres of grass waterways, 29 water control basins, 8 erosion control structures, 4 miles of filter strips, the sub-irrigation and the drainage system. The bottom left white lines here at the bottom, you can see, were actual groundwater test wells that were removed without the state's permission. There was no groundwater testing for or at these wells. In 2007, the USGS did a study with 73 samples showing high levels of pathogens in over 3/4 of the samples. And it also showed E. coli 0157 bacteria in the surface and groundwater. And please remember that this is drinking water downstream. This was a surface application on September 18th in 2012. As you can see, the little box sticking up way over to the right is what they call a gate valve box, which is a direct conduit down to the tile lines. So these are not very good practices to be getting paid for. This is a surface application that they were stockpiling in November of 2012, and as you can see, they go all the way across the field, and this is directly over a tile line. This was a sample taken after they had applied from this field. I took BOD samples, which is biochemical oxygen demand, which tells the oxygen in the water. A sewage treatment plant cannot exceed 30 milligrams per liter for a discharge. It was 89 on this discharge, which is also drinking water downstream. And in this one, the aerial shows locations of the stockpiling. We take aerial maps and we actually lay this out and send it to the state agencies to show them for our complaints. It shows not only the stockpiling, but a tile riser and the well and the tile where the discharge occurred. During this time, they were honored from the Michigan Farm Bureau for the Ecology Award while this was happening. Making the change. The Natural Resource Conservation Service, Michigan State Conservationist Gary Lee, has the authority to restore the balance with input from the State Technical Committee. The Less Equals More Coalition presented the white paper and recommendations for change February 14th, and I was also publicly releasing it today to you. We need your help. Please sign a card and send it to him. Thank you.